Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Curly K Glam, and I'm here today to bring y'all another video. So I just want to start off by saying, that my thoughts and prayers are with those who are experiencing difficulties through this time. I know that there has been a lot of chaos on the news in regards to Corona and everything, but I'm just, I want everyone to be safe. I want everyone to take this time to reflect and enjoy their time away from work. I know that some people are at home with their children, and I know a lot of the times we always say when we go to work, I need a break, I need a break, I need a break. So I hope that even though this is not the most convenient way to have your break, I hope that, everything is going well with everyone. And I'm praying that everybody has what they need. And for those people who don't have what they need, I'm praying that you find a way to get what you need. I'm also praying for those who may be experiencing financial hardships at this time, as well as people who are suffering with the condition themselves. And I'm praying for restoration for all the countries and all the states who are experiencing Corona and its effects. And I'm just praying for healing and restoration at this point, because like majority of people have said, this is something that we haven't seen before. But through it all, God is still good. And so I just wanted to give some hope and some light, just something inspiring, because the media can be just so fear-driven, and it's literally making everybody panic. Like, there's literally nothing in stores, like no meat, water, or tissue paper. And so I just want to say, follow the necessary precautions. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to live in fear. But just do everything, that you know what is right to do, like washing your hands and keeping your distances away from people. And if you can work from home, work from home. Don't try to, be out here and be rambunctious and do whatever it is you want to do, because then you're also, putting others in jeopardy by being disobedient and not following the rules that, our leaders who have given us. But I just want to say, like I said, everyone is in my thoughts and prayers, and I myself am working remotely, a couple of days out of the week, and they're limiting our in-office, physicality at my office as well. So I pray that, everyone has peace, everyone has what they need, and just try to enjoy spending time with your family. And if you are at work, make sure you visit the websites where you can file for, unemployment and everything like that, and get the necessary help that you need during this time. Today, I am here to talk about self-made. Now, I know it may look like I come on here and review all the things that have to do with hair. And that's true, because hair is something that, just interests me. And, anything that I find inspiring, I think, especially people who want to be in the hair and beauty industry, Black women, I feel like, it's something that, we should watch, because a lot of things that we learn as we learn more about our history is very inspiring to us and can be very motivating. I'm here to talk about self-made and my thoughts on it. I'm not here to drag it necessarily, but I am here to question a few things about it. I just want to give a little background on why I took interest in watching self-made. As we know, for many years growing up, we were always taught that Madam C.J. Walker was the first Black self-made millionaire for Black beauty and cosmetics. And so it was a while ago where I was watching, shout out to Leah Gordon, don't know if she's going to see this, but if you are not subscribed to her channel, Leah Gordon does commentary on her channel, and And she also does natural hair and extension stuff for natural hair. But she does do commentary. And one day during Black History Month, she did this spotlight video on Madam C.J. Walker. And, I knew, just the surface things about Madam C.J. Walker. But I learned some new things during her video, which, after her video, it led me to go look up some things online and read about Madam C.J. Walker. And as I was reading certain things about her history, I began to get inspired because it's some things that I would like to do myself, because I feel like I have a desire to start something in the beauty, industry as far as Black beauty. But I'm not, I'm still in the planning phases. I don't know exactly what it is that I want to do. But it is inspiring to find people who have, things in common with you and some of the steps that they may have taken to, begin their business. So I learned a few things about Madam C.J. Walker. So when I went into self-made, I had kind of an expectation. I began thinking that it was going to be a biopic about it, but then I found out it was a docu-series, which is, better, because if you're one of those people like me who I watch movies, but I'm not like the most avid movie watcher, because sometimes I just don't have patience to sit there and watch movies. So with them breaking it into intervals, that kind of helped me, because I don't know, it's given to me in portions, so to say, versus me just having to sit there and just watch it flat out like for 3 hours. So I'm not gonna go episode by episode because there were 4 episodes, and honestly, like, I probably cannot like sit here and regurgitate everything to you that I did watch, but I'm gonna bring up some important points that I didn't know. One thing I was a little weary on is when it first started, it said it was inspired by, which led me to believe that, I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but that led me to believe that this wasn't going to be a completely fiction, or not fiction, nonfiction. This wasn't going to be a completely nonfiction story. This was going to be based on some events that happened in Madam C.J. Walker's life. So then that led me to believe that they're going to add a few things in there that wasn't necessarily true. So, me saying this now, I knew a little bit about Madam C.J. Walker before watching this, but I'm definitely gonna go ahead and purchase the autobiography, because I put the autobiography in my Amazon cart after I watched Leah's video, but I never purchased it because, I just got caught up in life. But definitely after Corona is over and we can receive packages the way we usually can receive them, I'm definitely going to be purchasing the autobiography of Madam C.J. Walker. Because I just think, in terms of Black beauty, like I said, there are some things that we need to know about her, because we're not really taught about it. But one thing I noticed was the dramatization of the boxing and her fighting. I necessarily didn't care for that. I felt like it kind of brought down the depiction, because it made it kind of, I don't want to say palatable, but it made it took away from the story, because those little scenes in between, those little dramatizations, they don't usually have those when they're doing a biopic about somebody. And I feel like it made the depiction more elementary, so to say. Not that, yeah, perfect. That's perfect. It made it kind of elementary, so I wouldn't necessarily show that to like a intellectual crowd, but maybe for like a elementary school or middle school crowd, I would. But then again, you would probably have to go in and fill in some holes to your students about that, because a lot of the stuff didn't seem to be true. Also, the whole thing with Addie Monroe. As I was scrolling Instagram, it came out this weekend. As I was scrolling Instagram, I saw a lot of people spotlighting Addie Monroe, but in real life, her name was Anna. Oh my God, not Anna, Annie Malone. So I wonder why they changed her name in the depiction. And why didn't they just leave it Annie Malone? Also, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how true this is. So I'm just going to, go off of what I know. In the movie, it was depicted that Madam C.J. Walker was not a saleswoman for Addie Monroe, and that she actually she was a client of Addie's, and she did work. She did her laundry in exchange to get her hair done because she was having some baldness and hair loss, which is true. See, Madam C.J. Walker did experience the hair loss. But working for her and washing clothes for her, for Addie Monroe, I don't know how accurate of a depiction that is. Also, in the movie, it was said that Madam C.J. Walker stole Addie Monroe's hair grower, miracle hair grower, and then rebranded it as her own and sold it. Now, I know that she made a similar product to hers, but I didn't know that it was the exact ingredients, and that in the movie, Addie said that she was going to take it to a chemist, and that if it came out that her chemical content was exactly the same in ingredients, that she was going to sue Madam C.J. Walker. That was probably in the last episode, I believe. But from what I read about Madam C.J. Walker, I read that she kind of was a consultant for Annie Malone, and she sold for her, and she was I think she might have been one of her top sales consultants, but then I guess something happened, or she began to realize that she could sell her own product herself, and she stopped selling for Annie Malone, aka Addie Monroe. But in the movie, what Madam C.J. Walker did is that she stole Addie Monroe's products. She didn't really steal them, but she stole them anyway. And she went to the product because she wanted to be a consultant for her anyway. But Addie was very adamant on her not being a saleswoman for her because she didn't have the look, which I'm gonna get into that later as well. But she said no, and so then Madam C.J. Walker stole her products and went to the market, the city market, and sold her products. And she went and sold her products, and then she bought back all the money that she made, proving that she was a good saleswoman. But then after that, Addie still said, no, I don't want you to sell for me. And so after that, that's when Madam C.J. Walker and her family up and moved to Indianapolis to basically start a new life so that she can start her company. Now, I thought that was interesting because from what I read, that part was true. She did move from Louisiana to Indianapolis, and then from Indianapolis to Harlem, which is, when her daughter, Aaliyah, went and started her salon in Harlem. And then I think after that, they moved from Harlem to Philadelphia, I want to say. Or they started a new salon in Philadelphia. But that wasn't all depicted in the movie. But I know for a fact that they did move from Indianapolis, and then from Indianapolis to Harlem. I did not know that Madam C.J. Walker's daughter was interested in women. I never read that in any of the things that I read about Madam C.J. Walker in terms of her daughter being an heir. I did read that her daughter was married 3 times, just like Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker was married 3 times, but in this depiction, it only showed that she was married once, and that was to C.J., who was her second husband, and who her and her daughter ended up taking his last name. I did not know, I knew that Madam C.J. Walker and her husband divorced, but it never was said as to why they divorced. But in this depiction, it said he had an affair with one of her sales consultants. I don't know how true that is either. And this is also supposed to be, I guess, based off of something that her great granddaughter Aaliyah Bundles wrote about. So I'm assuming that there is some truth to it, but for the sake of entertainment, some things were dramatized, or dramatized, however you say the word. Also, the whole thing, it was true that Madam C.J. Walker's husband was an ad man and that he helped her in terms of advertising and marketing, which I thought was brilliant, because why be married to an ad man and you trying to get your business off the ground if he can't help you get your stuff out there? So I thought that was, great use, and how he helped her with her business. Now, it was depicted in here that she didn't pay much attention to her husband because she was so busy chasing her dream. I don't know how true that is either. It's believable because that happens in real life, but I don't know how true that is as a part of her story. I did not know that Addie, in the depiction, Addie moved to Indianapolis. Now, I did not know, well, it's unbeknownst to me. When I was reading about Madam C.J. Walker, I didn't read anything about her competition moving to her area. I knew that Annie Malone started off as a self-made millionaire in the black beauty industry, but her talents and all her work got overshadowed by Madam C.J. Walker, because I guess Madam C.J. Walker had better marketing. I guess you could say she was a better hustler in terms of getting her product out there to the people. I know that Annie was famous, and I think she may have been famous in certain areas that she were in, but in terms of marketing, I know that Madam C.J. Walker was big in the areas that she was in, as well as in the Caribbean. She had a lot of Caribbean consumers, and I think she had some African consumers, if I'm not mistaken, from what I read. And when they went to Harlem, and in the movie or in the docu-series, when they went to Harlem and Aaliyah was pointing out all the different types of black people that she saw besides the ones that she was just used to in the South, I was like, that's how Madam C.J. Walker ended up expanding her business when they went these different places. Also, they depicted Madam C.J. Walker getting chewed out by Booker T. Washington. Now, as far as I know, that is true, because when I read, it said that he was not interested in endorsing her business because he felt like black women styling their hair and enhancing their beauty was trying to keep up with the Eurocentric standard of beauty, which I disagree in, because if you can see black beauty today, obviously, I think Booker T may have been sort of wrong. I know there was a period where black women did have to assimilate. They did have to try to look more, in the words of the society, more presentable, and what was deemed acceptable in the workplace. But now today, as we see that more black women are embracing their beauty, they're embracing their natural features, they're embracing their natural hair, their textures, and their curl patterns. And so I think as far as the vision that Madam C.J. Walker had at that time, it was brilliant because it was so ahead of her time. And for her to be, she wasn't the darkest of skin, but she wasn't, what people deem as the most beautiful. So for her to have marketed that and then put her face on her marketing as, a brown skin, dark skinned woman, that helped to, I thought it was important that it allow other women to see themselves as beautiful. Because for a long time back then, black women were told that their features were not beautiful, their noses were not beautiful, their lips were not beautiful, their hair was not beautiful. So her giving stuff that would help treat scalp conditions, and her creating shampoos and conditioners and stuff like that. I thought that was amazing. I thought that was very amazing and very, very, very inspiring. The Walker Girl. Now, in the movie, Madam C.J. Walker had all kinds of sales consultants from the Black background, including women who were biracial or mulatto. All of her sales consultants were not fully Black women. You have to think of the time frame in which Madam C.J. Walker was born. She was born free, but her parents were slaves. And so during that time, a lot of the women who worked for her business were children. They were either former slaves or sharecroppers and descendants of slaves. They were born free, but they were still, operating and selling during the time of segregation and, Jim Crow and all that. They were still lynching people, as you saw in the movie. The depiction that. But in regards to Walker Girl, I thought that was interesting that at the time, of course, there was a white standard of beauty, and that society had this depiction of whiteness that was always shown in terms of like sales and marketing. But then her husband tried to rebrand the depiction that they were always used to seeing, but he tried to make it more urban. But instead, he turned it into a light-skinned girl. And I thought that Walker Girl was influenced by the girl he was messing with, because clearly the girl that he was messing with was, I think she was mixed. But in this movie, mixed people are seen as Black, as we all know. So I think that the whole light skin thing, I thought that was interesting, because I know right now there's a lot of discussions about colorism, featureism, texturism, and I thought that was interesting that they're trying to launch this Black beauty product, and he made it as a light-skinned girl. And in the movie, Madam C.J. Walker was a brown-skinned woman, and so she wanted to put her products out there as a brown-skinned woman to cater to other women, to let women of all shades know that you are beautiful and that you can use her products. She wanted to market to all shades of Black, not just mixed women and not just women of, Black women, but women of color, period. She wanted to market to women of color, period. And so, like I said, I thought that was interesting because in the movie, he ended up leaving Madam C.J. Walker because she didn't want him back because he was trifling. But he ended up marrying that girl, and she tried to market herself as Madam C.J. Walker. And then they tried to start their own hair care line and hair care business after she basically was the top sales consultant for Madam C.J. Walker. Then she blackmailed her and went to Addie Monroe and tried to sell for Addie Monroe. And then after the whole thing with Addie Monroe, she tried to start her own hair care and beauty business, which was very interesting. Didn't know that. Don't necessarily know if that's 100% true. But like I said, once I go back and get this autobiography, I'm not going to just read about that. I'm going to read about the business aspect. But it's just certain things that, people go through when starting businesses that I thought was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that Addie Monroe told people that she wanted her reps to be light-skinned and have pretty hair and have silky hair. Which I thought, if you're marketing to Black people, you sending out mixed, because to me, it's all in what mixed people identify with. And I know for me, I've met a lot of mixed people who identify as Black, and they look Black. They have the big afros and stuff like that. So she's marketing and having sales consultants that are light-skinned and have this curly hair, and then she's trying to market it to Black people, African women who have kinky, coarse hair, who've been told by their masters that their hair isn't beautiful. So I don't know how true that is. Like, from what I read, Annie Malone was a black woman and she was the product of slavery. I don't know if she was born as a slave. She might have been born free as well, but she was a child of a slave. And so to me, if she was if she was the child of two slaves, because from what I read online, both her parents were slaves. From what it looked like in the movie, whoever she talked to on the phone that I thought was her mom, she was a dark-skinned woman and she looked like she was a freed slave. From the way Addie looked, I assumed that Addie's father was white and that her mother was raped and that she was the product of, you know, how the masters back then used to rape their slaves. I thought she was that. I don't think that was an accurate depiction. I think that may have been made up for the movie or the docu-series. So I'm not sure how accurate that was. Like I said, you know, this video's getting a little lengthy, but I just wanted to, you know, open up a discussion to see what my other beauty gurus and those who are into black beauty and, you know, hair products for natural hair, you know, all of us who are, you know, into the beauty and cosmetic industry. What did y'all think of Self-Made, or have y'all even watched Self-Made? I definitely thought it was inspiring how she was able to market her business, move from area to area, her determination to get in front of the right people, as well as meeting Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. I thought that was amazing. Didn't know that Madam C.J. Walker lived next door to John D. Rockefeller and that they were neighbors and that she had conversations with him and he gave her, you know, little trinkets and how to, you know, better her business. I thought that was very insightful, and how she educated herself and how to be an entrepreneur. It was very saddening that back then they didn't have the medicine to, you know, and the technology to help her treat her disease and her illness. And so she ended up losing her life very, very early in the beginning stages of her business, when her business was starting to flourish. And so her daughter had to take over. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of that movie. I thought it was very inspiring as to how she was able to, like I said, launch and create her business, and how determined she was to get herself out there and to get in the face of the right people and to network, and how she got people to invest in her business. I thought that was amazing. Also, how she was able to launch. She was able to help other young black women get their faces out there and start their businesses as well. But let me know what you thought about how the docu-series was depicted. Do you think that it was depicted in the best way? Or do you think there are some things they could have worked on in the docu-series that could have made it a little bit better and a little bit, not realistic, but more nonfiction? Like, could it made it more of a biopic situation? Let me know your thoughts down below. I apologize for the lengthy video, but I just want to, you know, like I said, bring out some things that I thought were very important, that I felt like other young black women like me and myself who, you know, have these, you know, dreams and these aspirations. What did you think of Self-Made? Leave your comments down below and let me know what points in the docu-series stuck out to you. I'm, you know, willing to hear anything, because I like to, you know, engage in this type of stuff. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Curly Cake Lamb, and I'll be back with more videos. Deuces.